This is Michael Gerace with Michelangelo's Plumbing. It is September 20th, 2018. We're performing a video sewer inspection. We're at 4357 Beck Avenue, Studio City, California, 91604. Again, that is 4357 Beck Avenue, B-E-C-K Avenue, Studio City, California, 91604. We are on the roof. We tried to locate a mainline cleanout down below. We could not locate a mainline cleanout, and we're also informed that the sewer line has been replaced. I don't know exactly when, but we still could not find a mainline cleanout. We're going to wipe our camera lens down, and as I said, we're on the rooftop, and this is the backyard area, and this is the front yard area from the roof. And we have a 4-inch cast iron mainline clean out. So we're going to run through this 4-inch cast iron clean out and attempt to get all the way out to the city sewer and take a look. Everything so far looks to be okay. What we can see, we're dropping down, going into the cast iron waste line under the house now. And our camera flipped over on us. I'm going to try and pop it back through one more time. Got some debris on the camera lens. Makes it very difficult to try and see anything. So we're going to try and see if we can just wipe it down and get back through. If we can't, we'll try and run in and then wash the camera lens off if we can, and then we'll proceed. Okay, so we got our camera lens washed off. We're going to go back down. Okay, and now we're running down into the cast iron waste line. We have a little bit of water in there, which actually cleared the camera lens off. You get some more debris. It's kind of difficult running through cast iron, especially. You do get debris buildup. There's a little buildup in this cast iron line up underneath the ground under the house, but it's not terrible. Then we transition to ABS plastic right here. And we may have a clean out here. There's a short section right here. I think we may have a fitting right there. So we're going to pause for a moment. We're going to try and locate this area. Okay, we did locate a mainline clean out, an ABS plastic clean out at the front of the house. It is buried right in the middle of the bush, and we did mark it with an orange flag. This area should be just cleared away and put a sewer box over it, so that just in case, in the event they did need it, if they had a stoppage of any kind at any time and they needed it for maintenance or to clear a line, they would be able to access it. Right now we're running out ABS plastic piping, and so far everything looks good. Got a joint right there. That joint appears to be in good condition. And as I said, we're in ABS plastic, so probably got some long lengths of ABS plastic pipe here. And then we may come to some other couplings or some other turns. This is all just ABS black plastic piping. Okay, we have another joint. Appears to be another coupling that appears to be in fair condition at this time. Don't see an issue there. Now we do have a little turn here. Do make a little turn here, and we're dropping down. More than likely we're running toward the 4x6 inch lateral connection. And got a little bit of overpour on glue right there, not a big deal. But then we come to another joint right there. We're holding back a little bit of water in that joint. That joint wasn't graded real great. Now we're transitioning here, transitioning to the city lateral. From what we can see right here, we do have some water in the city lateral. So we're going to go out from here, and when we come back, we'll mark this area of the city lateral. Pull back, we can't really see anything there, but we do have a belly right there, about 5-foot belly. Going out, we have another belly in the lateral, and we had some root intrusion here, and we have some debris. Really hard to see. We have some debris. We're at about 105 feet out on the camera monitor. We'll mark these areas on the way back. Got another area still holding a little bit of water here. Don't have a lot of grade. Okay, we have a very large amount of roots from what we can see right here. Pretty large amount of roots from what we can see right there. In the vitreous clay and a very large offset. You can see the whole face of the pipe on the left hand side. So you have a pretty large offset. You may have a break in there. We can't even really see it because of all the roots. We're holding back water as well. And we are in concrete pipe from what it appears. Looks to be concrete piping. You can see the roots coming down as we pull out a little bit. That joint appears to be okay. This is vitreous clay. Another joint. That joint appears to be okay. That joint appears to be okay. That joint appears to be okay. We have some more root intrusion and a big separation and a big offset right there. See a big gap, especially up by that 9 o'clock area and that 11 o'clock area. We have a pretty big gap in that piping. We have more root intrusion in this joint, and we have a separation, another offset, about 129 feet out. Another joint appears to be in good condition. That joint, we got a minor offset to it, nothing major there. Making a little turn. Looks like we're probably going to drop into the city sewer right here. Little offset right at the city sewer. And that is our city sewer. Let's see if we can rinse the camera. Don't believe we have any water in there to rinse the camera, but camera looks pretty clean right there. I have a pretty good picture from that point. We're going to pause for a moment. Okay, we've marked this area out in the street that is closer to the opposite curb on the opposite side of the street at 7 foot 7 inches deep. Now we're pulling back. We do have an offset right there. Not major, but we've got an offset at the saddle area. Now we're pulling back. That joint appears to be in pretty fair condition. It does appear that we have a break in the saddle. We got a pretty good crack in the saddle right there that is broken, and that's probably, we're getting some shifting in there, and that area is cracked and broken and needs to be replaced or repaired. We're going to pull back. That's right next to where we marked. That's at the saddle. We have a small offset there, nothing serious. Very small offset. Now we have a root intrusion right here in the street, and we have a pretty good offset right there. Now we're going to mark this area out. Okay, we are at 6 foot 11 inches deep, and we have root intrusion there and an offset right there. We're going to be again pulling back, minor offset, but more so just roots right there. Now we're going to pull back, and it appears we have a pretty good separation and an offset right here. We're going to mark this area as well. We are at approximately 6 foot 8 inches deep right here, where we have root intrusion and a pretty good offset and separation right there. Next joint looks to be pretty good, nice and tight. Don't see any issues there. Might have a minor bit of root intrusion on the right hand side. It's kind of hard to see. We'll blow that up on our laptop when we get to the office, but it doesn't look bad at all. Next joint, some minor root intrusion in the joints from what we can see. That joint looks to be in pretty good condition. Next joint looks to be in pretty good condition. This is all vitreous clay, 6-inch vitreous clay from what we can see. That joint appears to be in pretty good condition. Pulling back a little bit, coming up. Now we have major offset right here, major root intrusion right there. We're going to mark this area. Okay, we are 6 foot 1 inches deep, right by the curb area. And this is a major offset and root intrusion, and we're transitioning back to concrete piping. Now we have a section of concrete piping in here, and we have a belly. We're underwater, and now we're in concrete piping. We have a little slag right there, concrete slag. Coming back, another concrete joint, holding a little tiny bit of water there. Now we're coming up, got some debris in there, holding water again, little belly, and came out of that belly right there. And now we're to our transition. Let's see. This is our transition from ABS plastic to the concrete piping. We're at 5 foot 11 inches deep at the ABS plastic to concrete pipe transition. That's where we transition back to the ABS plastic from the concrete pipe. Now we're going to pull back. All the concrete piping we saw looked pretty good. We did have a little bit of a dip right there in just that one fitting. Right before we go into the concrete piping, we make that little turn, but that should not cause an issue. It is all smooth ABS plastic piping, so I don't foresee a problem with that. All the joints that we saw in the ABS plastic piping appeared to be in good condition. You have a little bit of a gap in that joint right there, but it appears maybe it was not seated all the way in when it was glued, and quite often that's what happens. The plumbers go to push the piping into the fitting and they don't seat it all the way in. It's kind of difficult to push in sometimes. You have to push it in, use a lot of glue, and turn it pretty quick to get it seated into the joint, and sometimes they don't get it seated all the way. Don't generally see a problem with it though. It's still seated quite a bit. It's still in there about a good 1.5 inches generally. That joint looks to be in good condition. Now we're pulling back toward the house. Pulling back toward where we found the mainline cleanout in the bush, and we will mark that area. They planted the bush right over the top of the mainline cleanout, so that really needs to be uncovered and probably put into a nice sewer box. And that joint appears to be in good condition from what we can see. And that's where we have our mainline cleanout, is right here. We have a short piece of pipe, then we have our mainline cleanout right here. Above us there's an inlet, and we did mark that with an orange flag. And now we're pulling back through what they call the waste line. A lot of people think this is a sewer line going under the house, but it's actually considered a waste line. It carries raw sewage and debris and drain water, but anything within the foundation of the house is either called a waste line or a drain line. Drain lines are generally kitchen sink, bathtub, lavatory. The waste line is generally for the toilets, but they all go into the waste line eventually. Do have some buildup in the cast iron waste line under the house, but again, it doesn't appear to be terrible. Seen a lot worse. Might need to be hydro-jetted one day. It still appears to be in pretty fair condition. Didn't see any breaks in the cast iron, didn't see any root intrusions. Now we got a little bit of ABS plastic right here, probably from a remodel where they cut in a fitting right there. And now we're coming up and out of our vent. We got water hanging on the lens right now. It's dripping off the face of the camera lens, so it's a little bit difficult to see. Wipe our camera lens off, get the water off and debris off. And now we have a nice clear picture. And that will conclude our video series back in.